A lot of developers from the crypto industry are moving over to AI. I talked to a lot of projects, a lot of developers in the space, just people all over. And the general consensus is that the reason to be in crypto has changed significantly. And the narrative, the reason to be excited about it, has kind of waned. And for most ecosystems, it's been the case that developer count is dropping pretty gradually. A lot of people are moving over to AI. But there are several blockchains, HBAR included, that are actually staying fairly strong through this drought. I've covered it on many videos over the past month, but it's a staggering statistic that the developer count for crypto has dropped over 30% over just the past year alone. And I saw a video by a YouTuber called CoffeeZilla, which I think is going to be very interesting to you, because Michael Burry, the man from The Big Short, the man that called the top of the 2008 crisis, he went ahead and published an article detailing the fact that NVIDIA was not Enron, it was Cisco. So Cisco was an infrastructure company that developed a lot of stuff for the internet. You know, the routers, pretty much everything that you needed to run in the internet, Cisco was a part of that. And so for a long time, people thought that the reason that the dot-com bubble burst because of the fact that Michael Burry was saying, pets.com and these overvalued things that just called themselves .com. So they went to billions of dollars. This was the reason that we went down during the dot-com bubble. But it wasn't actually the companies that were doing nothing. It was the companies that were doing something. They were just valued way too high against what they should have been worth. People were just buying too much into the vision instead of what they were actually worth. And so I feel like the same thing that's happening with AI is the same thing that happened with crypto during 2021. During 2021, everyone was bought into this vision that crypto was going to change the world. And in many ways, crypto is going to change the world and is continuing to change the world and shape it. However, a lot of people just had too bullish of a vision on what exactly that was going to look like. And so a lot of these companies said they were going to do something, and yet they did nothing. And the biggest companies, some of the top 10 blockchains out there, ended up just practically being vaporware. And so the reason to be here has kind of left for a ton of these crypto projects. The reason to build on these chains has left. And what's more exciting than being at the forefront of something that's going to change the world? A lot of people that are 20, 21, 22, I'm 25 right now, a lot of people around my networks are saying, hey, AI is the new exciting thing. It's going to change the world. And yet I feel AI is having its 2021 moment right now. It's having its moment where a lot of people are having euphoria, and some of these companies are worth, trillions of dollars, which quite frankly, I think is very overvalued. And they're going to come back to norm. And what's going to end up happening is the same thing that happened in 2021 for crypto. Crypto as an industry has matured a lot. The fact is that people aren't dumb anymore. People have been burnt enough times, and institutions are here. Crypto's matured, and regulation is here. And that's been a good thing for crypto. It's been a great thing for crypto. And cryptocurrencies like HBAR that have been big into the US narrative, these are the cryptocurrencies that have benefited the most, by far. They benefit so much. One of the few bags that I'm holding right now in crypto that don't include Bitcoin, because I hold Bitcoin, HBAR, is actually up. My HBAR position is actually up right now. The reason for that is because they've played their cards right. And what's going to happen is if they can stay steady while this AI bubble bursts, they're going to benefit a lot. Any cryptocurrency that right now is surviving the test of time and continuing to just chug along, it doesn't need to be performing the best because our market just quite frankly isn't the most interesting thing right now. But if it's going around and surviving and still kicking it and fighting, it's going to do well once the AI boom and bust happens. Where do you think these developers are going to come once we get these regulatory clarities regarding, for example, casinos? I think it's called Kalshi is like a prediction market right now that's going through a lawsuit. They're alleging a bunch of different things. We still have to get clarity on that. Is it a casino? What is it? I don't know what it is. I guess we don't really know until we get the clarity oversight. There were a bunch of stablecoin bills that were supposed to be passed, and yet the government shut down, so we never really got an answer on that. So we're still waiting on things. We're still waiting. And the crypto market has matured a lot. So the next wave, I believe, and I'm predicting is going to happen, is a wave in which the AI bust happens and then developers come back to crypto. They come back to blockchains that are already exhibiting strength. Because I think people are kind of tired of just trying to pick and choose and hoping. People want to choose chains that have already proven themselves, that are showing that they're actually going to stick around. I mean, I'm personally tired of just covering 500 different coins in a year because I don't know which one's going to make it. I don't want to throw my bags into... I mean, I invested into over 50 different companies over the span of a year. I hate to admit it, but over the past 3 years, I've been doing that. I mean, I've been angel investing into a bunch of different crypto companies. I didn't lose money, but I sure as hell didn't make much. It really didn't make much. I'm thankful to not have lost everything, but still, I've talked to so many different teams, and I've helped so many different teams do so many different things. And the consensus has always been that the network effect carries on in crypto very strongly. And the chains that stick around are going to be the chains that have proven themselves to be worthy of sticking around. And HBAR is an old crypto. It's pretty damn old when it comes to the crypto market. It is ancient for crypto. And yet I feel cryptocurrencies like HBAR, cryptocurrencies like XRP and Solana and Ethereum, these cryptos that have been around to stand the test of time and still have strong developers. These are the cryptocurrencies that are going to benefit the most once the attention comes back. And I assume a lot of people are leaving right now. And I think that's a great thing for the people that want to build something in this industry. I have been advising and helping crypto companies with marketing for a long time. And I've raised a staggering amount of capital for crypto companies. I'm talking about millions upon millions of dollars worth of capital for crypto companies. And the number one way I have been able to do that is through proof of authority, through social proof. If you have strong social proof, then you will have an easy time raising money. Because if you can prove to people that the thing that I am trying to push is something worth pushing, then they will fight for it. And that's why there's so many people leaving for AI. Some people have felt like they've lost the plot on crypto, that there's just no reason to be in crypto anymore because the original vision is dead. And in many ways it has died, but it's also evolved. I'm going to butcher his name, so I think you guys are going to roast me in the comments, but I think it's Ryan Somali, I believe is his name. He is a major investor into Solana, and he put out a thesis on why Solana can hit $1 trillion. And he explicitly said inside of this interview, I mean, this is a very successful man. He runs a very large firm, which I probably will never amount to. I mean, it's like hundreds of millions of dollars. And he pretty much said that you cannot use the same thesis for a $100 billion Solana versus a $1 trillion Solana. The magnitude of capital that needs to enter to have a cryptocurrency of that size, you need to have a different thesis. You need to have an evolving thesis. And that is what we're going through right now. People are scared because the old time crypto bros, people from the 2017 cycle and before, they're gone. They're leaving. They're going to be selling. They've been holding for so long and they're done. They finally got their goal. They hit their goal. It's over. So we had that big altcoin burst, similar to the original .com bubble. But what happened afterward? These tech companies ended up being enormous. The NASDAQ ended up taking over anyway. We just have to get through that bell curve. And I believe that bell curve is evolving a lot faster, a heck of a lot faster. And the companies with, like I said, social proof are going to be the companies that are most successful. These projects are going to be the most successful for sure. Because if people can buy into their vision, which I believe a lot of people have bought into HBAR's vision, a lot of people have bought into many of the top cryptocurrencies that are still sticking around, right? They bought into their vision clearly because the value of the crypto is still very high, right? Clearly they bought into that, despite the altcoin drought that's been felt throughout the markets. These companies are going to be very successful. I've been in the industry for long enough to understand this. So I just thought this was a very interesting thing for food for thought. One thing I want to leave you with before I leave this video is the fact that if you are feeling hopeless about the situation that we're currently going through, it's okay. It's totally normal. Life is all about adapting, and there's a lot of things that are constantly changing. One day crypto's exciting, one day it's not. I've been here for long enough to understand that, I've been through the peaks and downs and the peaks and downs, and we're going through another down right now. Hopefully we go to another peak in the future, but I'm not here to guess whether or not it's going to happen. I'm just going to position to see, hopefully, fingers crossed, I buy enough of a maturing asset that's actually going to do well in this market. But if you're losing faith, I want to give you an example of when humanity kind of came together and made something great happen. And that was during 1987. So in 1987, 20 countries came together to go ahead and ban these chemicals that were hurting the ozone layer. The ozone layer had been expanding rapidly, and it was going to probably kill all of us, right? But luckily, because we banned these, because 20 countries came together and banned these chemicals, the ozone layer, today, there was a research article that published that said that this is the 5th smallest hole on the ozone layer in 30 years. And think about, this hole was bigger than the size of Antarctica. It doesn't mean that it's literally a hole that's like there's no oxygen there. It just means there's not much. There's not a lot of oxygen in this big hole. And so every time we have these crazy droughts, I kind of think of them like when the crypto bros get scammed and they all leave. Sometimes it's serendipity. It's a beautiful mistake, right? Where right now it might feel like because there's an altcoin drought, it's never going to get better. But people also thought that about the environment. They thought it was never going to get better. Now we have solar farms. The projections for 2100 are a lot better than they used to be. We had to go through that. We had to go through that experience together as a society to test whether or not we could come back. And we did as a society. We decided we'll ban these cans, we'll change the chemicals in our refrigerators and everything, and we will survive. And that's what I think is happening in the crypto markets. That same example where right now it might feel like, altcoin drought, a bunch of scams, ended up extracting a bunch of people's capital. But I think we needed that as a crypto society to finally say no. To say no, we're not going to keep throwing our money into these scams forever. I'd rather it happen now than it happened when crypto is worth $10 trillion, So this could be a beautiful mistake. As this market begins to mature, these assets that have stood the test of time, that have that social proofing, will do very well. So that's the story for today. Thank you for watching this video. Stay classy, and I'll see you all in the next one.